Welcome to the Taking the Lead podcast, where we empower people to be unstoppable. I'm Christina Hepner with my co-hosts Leslie Hoskins and Timothy Cuneo. Timothy, it's been a while since we've talked about Glacier and what happened with her. Could you kind of give us a little recap and an update? Because I know we have a positive update on her.
Yeah, we finally got a positive update. Last year, Glacier and I, we went somewhere apparently, and she got bit by a nasty tick, and we didn't know about it until about 4 or 5 months later when we did her annuals, and her blood platelets had dropped to kind of a dangerous level. And so we were struggling with that for about 3 or 4 months, and because she didn't like the antibiotics. So we ended up having to cook her meals and stuff like that every morning, every night, and it was pretty bad. And she gained some weight during that time. So, but I'm glad to say we went and got her blood test done the other day, and she's back in the normal range, which we were happy about, and her weight's back down where it should be, where she's normally at. So I'm very thankful for that right now today.
Yeah. That is fantastic news. That's a wonderful update. Thank you, Timothy. So is there any chance of it going back up again, like the numbers getting out of the normal range, or like she's good unless she were to be bit by another tick or something like that?
She has to get bit by another tick.
Okay.
The doctors cleared her, so we are good to go. And she went through this whole thing, and we kept working. We kept on going, and she's a tank. She's always been a tank. She's been my inspiration, and she never showed any signs of an illness or anything, which blew me away when they told me, "Hey, you got a sick dog here."
Yeah.
And she never whimpered. She always did her job like she's supposed to.
Yeah, Timothy, I remember you saying that when you found out that she never acted sick, and that's why it's so important to go to the vet every year and do those regular checkups for your dog.
Yeah, they found this out when they were doing the heartworm test. They saw something funny in her blood work. So it was not a cheap illness to fix, but she is fixed today, and I'm thankful that we had the ability to get her through this. And I love my dog. She's everything to me. And I'm just kind of, my wife, when we heard we had the vet on, my wife started crying. That just shows you how stressful we were. I'm about to cry right now, but it was a very stressful time. But I'm just glad she's back to normal and being her bubbly self like usual.
Yeah, that's great news. Well, I'm sorry you guys had to go through that, but I'm so happy to hear that Glacier is doing well and continuing to work, which is fantastic news. So, and thank you just for sharing that experience. It's not something I had ever really heard of happening. Yeah. So it's a really great reminder, like Christina said, to go to those annual checkups and make sure the dogs are doing good.
If you're going to get a dog, it's just something you got to put in the back of your head that there might be a day that your dog's not healthy, and you always got to check on your dog, do its annuals, just like you do with a child or yourself. That dog is everything to a blind person if you have a guide dog. And so you got to take care of your dog. You take care of your dog, the dog will take care of you.
There you go. Yeah. It's a good team effort. Well, thank you. And please give Glacier some love for us. We're very happy to hear that news. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Today's guest is here to share his experience with both on-campus and in-home O&M.
Yes, in 2020, Luis Sanchez lost his vision and feared he'd never travel again. But everything changed in 2023 when he came to Leader Dog Campus for our orientation and mobility, or our White Cane program. Then in 2024, he continued his journey with O&M services right in his hometown. Since then, Luis has been unstoppable, reclaiming his independence and inspiring others every step of the way.
Good morning, Luis. Welcome to the podcast. I met Luis last year at Chicago. I was there, and him and his friend and another gentleman came down and saw me. How you been doing, Luis? And can you tell the audience a little bit more about yourself?
Good morning, Leslie, Christina, and Timothy. Thanks for inviting me to your podcast. I listened to you since I was there in the campus in 2023. That's how I found your podcast. So nice to talk to you today. In 2017 is when I started having problems with my vision. I was working, and I knew that something was not right when I was working at a warehouse, and I deal with numbers, so it was kind of blurry, and I knew something was wrong, but I didn't put too much attention. And then a few months later, I got worse, and then when I started going to the doctor, they couldn't find nothing until like the end of 2018, when finally I got like an emergency call and told me I needed to go to the hospital the next Monday, and then found out that I got optical nerve infection. So I had to be in the hospital for 2 weeks with antibiotic, and they told me it would not get worse, but it still got worse in 2019. I was still working until 2020 when it got worse, and that's when they told me I can not work no more.
Yeah, that's awful to hear, Luis. So you had an optical nerve infection, you said. So since then, has your vision remained stable since 2020?
Oh, I still lost a lot more vision than 2020. Like in 2020, I was still working until like April, but that's when it got worse, and then they told me I couldn't work no more. So that's when I started.
What was your initial fears of when this all started happening to you? I'm sure you were scared to death.
Yeah, because at that time I was still living in the city of Chicago in the north side, and I used to travel a lot, go to different events, work, take trains and buses and all stuff. And for me, it was going to be hard to how can I do this? I was frustrated. I was more emotional. I would not be able to do stuff no more that I used to love to do. So that was kind of my situation when I found out I could not do all the stuff that I used to love.
Absolutely. I'm sure that was incredibly challenging and really upsetting. Can you talk us through what happened? So, I mean, you lost your vision, and then how did you find services? Where did you go? What did you do? What were those steps to start taking in the blind rehab world?
Well, after 2020, I decided in the next 2-3 years, I was not doing nothing. I didn't do nothing. I just was at home, with the help of my roommate and his son, and just they would help me everywhere we go. They help me navigate. I never had no service, until like the end of 2022 when I started I went to the Chicago Lighthouse for the first time, and that's when they told me about get a white cane. And at that time I was not ready. And that's when I started thinking about it. I need to get orientation mobility training.
And how did you first hear about Leader Dog, and what made you decide to come to campus for orientation and mobility back in 2023?
Yeah, so in 2022, when first time I went to the Chicago Lighthouse, I went, my eye doctor, and she was explaining me to the different options that to have to get orientation and mobility, and they gave me like 3 options. And the first one was go to the state of Illinois and apply, and I need to wait, and they can if they can give me the O&M training, but told me they're gonna take a few time. Now we have to wait. The second option that they told me it was to go in to the city of Chicago, but by that time I already moved to the suburbs, and they told me I needed to go to the city of Chicago 1 time a week. And now that I live like 45 minutes from Chicago, it was going to be hard for me to go, to the city of Chicago. And the third option they gave me is when they offered me a Leader Dog for the Blind, and they told me they were supposed to go out of state. They were in Michigan, so that's when I knew about you.
That's actually crazy to hear that you did actually have some options, but I understand it felt like some of those options were really not available to you. We really tried to partner with organizations like the Chicago Lighthouse for the Blind. I'm so happy to hear that they were saying, hey, you can go here, you can do this. And also, hey, there's Leader Dogs for the Blind where you can go to that. And that's wonderful to hear. And honestly, state agencies, we always encourage reaching out to your state agency to receive services there too. But there are some of those downsides of a long wait time, or maybe you don't qualify. And that's really where we can be a great partner. So I'm happy to hear that you were given some options, but you decided on Leader Dogs for the Blind. Can you tell us about that decision, and then how it was when you got to campus?
So after they gave me the options, I talked to my caregiver, my roommate, and the option they gave me, and my friend said, your better option is number 3. So that's when I was like, maybe in the next couple of days, we call and we start the process and send all the information and the video, and few months, I got the call to give me different dates. They that I can take. So I decided to take the class in August of 2023, and that's when I decided to go to Leader Dogs for the Blind.
That's wonderful. So you got to campus in 2023, August. What was the week of O&M like on campus?
Well, the first time, when I got there, I didn't flew there. I was so nervous to fly, so
Sure.
I decided to my friend to drive me. So they drove me all the way there. I was, very nervous. I didn't know what to expect when I got there, and they showed me right away, the place. They showed me my room, and they gave me a little tour, and I was amazed. Like I was in a resort, understand, like a nice room, and I was next to kind of in front of the lunchroom. So I had just opened my door and I just go in front of it. I was lucky about that. They can go to the lunchroom every morning right away.
Yeah, you had a prime location then if you were right by the dining room. That's fantastic. So working one-on-one on campus with your orientation and mobility specialist for the week, and then you went back home and worked on those skills. Can you tell us a little bit about what made you want then the in-home O&M experience?
So after I left, that Saturday I went home, and the first time when I got home, I always wanted to, because like I said, I never had orientation and mobility. So that was my first time at all. I was scared to go outside my house because I said, how am I going to go out? I was nervous to get lost. I didn't even go into the corner of my house because I thought I was going to lost. So the first thing I did when I got home, I went around my neighborhood by myself, went a couple of blocks and crossed streets and came back. And, so I was, stuff that I cannot do before. I did it the first day I got back. And then when I was over there, that's when my instructor, before I left, Stacy, told me about the program about home training. He told me that if I want to do it, I need to apply, think about it. And after I got, I went back to the Chicago Lighthouse. They got me a trainer there from the Chicago Lighthouse. Her name is Rebecca. So she, in the next few months, she helped me. And then that's when I applied for home training with Barry. So, and then I was doing the process of, filling out those paperwork and those, the video. And then I sent it, and then I got a call that I was accepted.
So what was it like working with Barry at your home? So how is that different from being on campus?
Well, it was different because, like I said, now that I live in the suburbs, for me is to go to the city, I had to take a bus, I had to take a train all the way to Chicago now. So for me, it was kind of hard to do all that. I thought I never been able to do it because, I had to walk like a block from my house, and then, then go that bus would take me to that terminal, the bus terminal. I had to cross a busy street to take the metro. The metro is the train that goes to the city. So I thought we were never able to do that. But when Barry came, he helped me. The first thing we went to the terminal, and he helped me figure out, how to do all that stuff. We crossed the street, and we came back, and we went around, that area, and it helped a lot, to do stuff that I thought I wasn't able to do.
So, Luis, I know you got the training to do that from Barry. So have you been able to go to a Cubs game and stuff? Because I thought I saw on your Facebook you went to a Cubs game one day.
Yeah. So when I was still training with Barry, we went to a baseball game that time with him. But this year I went to my first Cubs game by myself, and it was a nice adventure to go to Cubs game, and I've even go to Chicago Fire games, like soccer too. So to stuff that I thought I was not able to do because it's hard to go to stuff like this.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing, and you should be incredibly proud of yourself. What a turnaround, right? From feeling like I can absolutely never leave my house to, first of all, just coming to Leader Dog on campus, away from home for an entire week. That is a big ask that we ask of people. You don't know anybody at our organization. It's away from home. I mean, that's a big leap of faith to do that. And then to take it that extra mile. And first of all, right? Like, you'd never had orientation and mobility before, any white cane training, when you come to campus, it is pretty intense, right? It's 5 days of intense O&M practice, but really 5 days, that's it. It doesn't mean that you know all the skills or that you're ready to go travel completely independently by yourself. So I think it's absolutely wonderful that you followed up and you got that in-home support with Barry so that you could work on then your specific routes in your home area. A lot of times when people come to campus, we focus on the general skills, right? Like the basics of O&M, using a white cane. We try to get you in different environments. We try to look at what your home environment is and mimic it here. But we're really teaching fundamentals in hopes that you can take those skills and go home and generalize them. But Chicago and Chicago suburbs, those are some intense environments, right? Like that's pretty crazy. So to be able to offer that support of Barry then coming to your home, working with you, so you've already got those foundational skills and now you can apply them to your specific routes and going to Cubs games. And first of all, Barry is a huge baseball fanatic. So I'm sure that was difficult to get him to work on a route to the Cubs game. But that's really incredible. So that's awesome. So going to Cubs games, what else is on your docket of things you want to do or places you want to go?
For now, it's time to go to other games, football, travel. Because when I used to say I used to travel a lot, I used to go to, I have family in California, and that's my next goal, to travel more, go to see my family in out of state.
Well, I'm proud of you, Luis. All the traveling you've done and what you've done is inspiration to others and showing that they can take that skill and do anything. And so we're really proud of you.
Luis, I have to ask. So after working with Barry and then you're continuing hopefully to get services throughout, the state or the Chicago Lighthouse, I think that's, again, fantastic. We love to partner with other organizations and agencies and really, a kind of a holistic approach to services and that we're all collaborating and working together towards the same mission. But what advice would you give anybody? So anybody who's maybe sitting in your shoes, it's 2017 when you're just starting to experience this vision loss and to thinking about where you are today, what advice would you give somebody?
So I got a friend, he lost his vision around my time too, and I just gave him advice there because he didn't want to do cane. He don't want to have an orientation mobility. And when he saw me doing what I did, he decided to get a cane. Finally, he got a cane, and he went to Leader Dog for the Blind the next year. We can do a lot of stuff with training with a Leader Dog for the Blind.
Absolutely. I think so many people have very similar stories to you in that you're right, like you didn't anticipate losing your vision. Nobody really does. And then when you're experiencing that, it's very devastating. It's very isolating. It feels like, sometimes it's kind of the end. And to hear your story and to know that you really took life by the hands and you went for it. You came to Leader Dog for a week. Again, that is a huge step, coming to a place outside of your state, right? And staying for the whole week and really committing to it. And it's hard work. Traveling with a cane is hard work. Nobody would ever say that's easy. And so I think that's wonderful that you came and you experienced that. And then you also went back home, got more services, and now you're traveling independently in all sorts of different environments. And I think it's important to remember too that you never really graduate from orientation and mobility. These are lifelong skills that constantly need a refresher. The environment continues to change. Technology continues to change. You yourself, your vision may continue to change. Your physical ability may change. And so it's always a really great reason to come in for those refresher classes and build up and learn what's new and what's happening. Timothy, you're a great example, right? You're getting ready, hopefully, to come in and kind of refresh those skills.
Times change, your eyes vision changes, and when that stuff happens, you need to go back and get that refresher because it's always you got to catch up with sometimes, like I have to right now, and I'm looking forward to it, and because I need it, and it's something I got to accept, even along with my, I've accepted my vision loss, but you guys say, hey, things are not going to be great if Glacier retired today, so I need to get the brush up.
Yeah, it's like anything in life. If you're not consistent with it, if you don't keep up on the latest things that are changing or happening, you lose it or you forget it or that sort of thing. So those are great reminders for anybody, for anything.
Absolutely. So, Luis, we have to ask, what is next for you? Do you have any big goals or adventures?
Like, I'm a big sports fan, and I want to travel. I want to go to, like, the Arizona Diamondback Stadium because they got a system called One Court, and it's like a braille for sports that you put, like, your hand on a tablet, and it tell you about how the game goes. It vibrates, and it's tell you like it's a home run, where the ball goes. So that's my goal, to try and do that.
That's awesome. I've never heard of that before. I love what sports are doing, what museums are doing. Everybody's trying to be more inclusive and figure out ways to adapt. Right? It's better for everybody. All of these different adaptations or accessibility things, it helps everybody. So that's awesome. That's a fantastic goal. So just to wrap things up here today, if you could sum up your Leader Dog experience in one word, what would it be?
Life-changing.
Life-changing.
Yeah, it really changed my life because, like I said, when I lost my vision, I thought when I was able to do all this stuff, I was very, very depressed and emotional. Then I would not be able to do stuff that I love, to travel and go to little games and all that stuff.
That's wonderful, Luis. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your journey with us. And we are incredibly proud of you and all that you have accomplished and continue to be doing. It's not easy, and you're really going for it, and that's fantastic. So thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Everybody. Take care.
Thank you. And thank you so much to our listeners for listening to the Taking the Lead podcast. I'm Leslie Hoskins with host Timothy Cunio and Christina Hepner. We hope you enjoyed hearing about Luis and his incredible journey. Please join us next time as we continue to dive into the world of blindness.
And if you'd like to learn more about applying to our free services at Leader Dog, you can head to leaderdog.org or call us at 888-777-5332. Don't forget, you can reach us at takingthelead@leaderdog.org with any questions or ideas. If you like today's podcast, make sure to hit subscribe and check us out wherever podcasts stream.